Joining us now is the president of the NAACP, Cornell, William Brooks. Sir, great to see you today.
It's good to see you.
What's your reaction to this historic vote in South Carolina?
This is an extraordinary day. Martin Luther King once eloquently spoke and dreamed of a day in which the sons of slaves and the sons of former slave owners could sit at the table of brotherhood. Today is not that day, but is a day in which the sons and daughters of the Confederacy can gather with the sons and daughters of an enslaved people around a flagpole of inclusion with the Confederate flag nowhere in sight. This is a powerful day. It's a day that also reaffirms the fact that the NAACP, for 15 years running, maintained an economic boycott against the state of South Carolina. Countless numbers of people, unions like the UAW, the NCAA, all stood in opposition to that flag, year in and year out. This is a day that ratifies, that reaffirms the commitment of many Americans with the NAACP to stand for inclusion, to stand for brotherhood and sisterhood. And we're mindful that it took the loss of 9 students of Scripture in a historic church in the Holy City for all of this to come about with such urgency. It is a powerful moment. It's a moment that we will long remember in this country, and certainly we will long remember in South Carolina. And as somebody who grew up in South Carolina, in and around Charleston, it is a very moving day for me personally.
I have to ask, this may be just the start of a big movement. Other communities in the South are reconsidering symbols that represent their Civil War history and the history of slavery. We've talked about a high school in Alabama now. The high school mascot is a rebel. They're debating whether that should be rescinded at this point. We're talking about license plates in Virginia. We're talking about Confederate statues in New Orleans. In fact, today Mayor Mitch Landrieu is formally asking the New Orleans City Council to begin the process of relocating 4 Confederate statues in New Orleans. How far should this go? Should this include Confederate flags being displayed in federal cemeteries?
Well, we believe it's important for the flag to be removed from a place of honor and placed in a place of study. The Confederate flag should take a place of study and historical and moral introspection in museums, not be atop public flagpoles. We know that this state, this battle moves to the state of Mississippi. We understand that this is part of a national movement. But be clear, we as Americans are not content with removing the symbols of racial exclusion and bigotry and bias. We want to deal with the substance. And so this is an important movement in terms of addressing this symbol. But we as Americans understand that this is a symbol of a larger fight. And the NAACP is in the midst of that fight, but we're not alone. And the fact that you see high school students taking up a cause that adults have long wrestled with, the fact that we see people all across the length and breadth of this country taking on this fight, because we understand that this is a moment of deep moral and historical introspection, but we have to take action. We cannot have a flag of exclusion and hate waving in a place of honor.
Well, I'm just wondering, since you're getting ready to start your national convention, this is the 106th NAACP convention beginning this weekend, and this year's theme, Pursuing Liberty in the Face of Injustice. Yes. We have seen so much battle this year around the nation over injustice in Ferguson, in New York City, in Baltimore, where we just learned the police commissioner has been fired for his response to the riots in Baltimore. Can you achieve liberty in the face of all this injustice?
Absolutely. Why? Because the NAACP has stood for the highest moral and constitutional values of this country for 106 years. And so we begin our convention in Philadelphia, the hometown of American liberty, and we begin that convention with the understanding that we are in the midst of a movement. Be clear. All across this country, we see young people, we see people who are young at heart coming together and taking up the cause of liberty, the cause of freedom, the cause of social justice at precisely this moment. Because they cannot countenance, they cannot tolerate police brutality and police misconduct. They can't tolerate a broken Voting Rights Act. They want the country to move. That's why we are convening this incredible convention in Philadelphia with President Barack Obama. We expect and hope to see President Clinton, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and thousands of young people and older people gather together, not merely to reflect, not merely to study, not merely to talk about problems, but to take action. That's what that convention is about, and we believe it's going to be historic. Be clear, we are in the midst of a pivotal moment in American history. We feel that, we sense that, we see it on our mobile devices, on television, we hear it on the radio, and this is a moment in which Americans have been called to do something extraordinary. We cannot shrink in the face of injustice or cower in the face of injustice, and we see all across this country, most particularly in South Carolina, that people are rising up and they're taking on old fights with a new sense of vigor. Given the actions in South Carolina, will you end the boycott against that state? Yes, we are looking to bring that boycott to an end. We have stood firm for 15 years, and we look forward to the day of ending the boycott, bringing down the flag, and all of us gathering together, just as I spoke earlier, around a flagpole of inclusion. Cornell William Brooks, great to talk to you. Thank you. It's good to talk with you.